Close your eyes for a moment and imagine this. You've been waiting for that perfect signal from the universe, waiting for a sign that tells you it's finally time to begin, waiting for something outside of yourself to whisper, yes, now is the moment. Maybe it's the right number showing up on a clock, a feather falling on your path, or a message from a stranger that feels divinely timed. And while those signs are beautiful, while they can bring wonder and awe, sometimes they become a prison disguised as magic. Because in the waiting, your life remains paused, your energy held hostage by a future moment that never seems to arrive. How many times have you found yourself holding back your truth, delaying your dreams, postponing the life you know you're meant to live, simply because you told yourself, I'm waiting for a sign? Deep inside you already felt the nudge. Deep inside your soul already whispered, go. And yet you stayed still, convincing yourself that more evidence, more validation, more signs had to appear before you could move. This is the quiet suffering of seekers across the world, the suffering of believing that transformation lies outside of us, instead of within us. But what if I told you that the sign you've been waiting for has been with you all along? That you right now, sitting here listening to this, are the sign? What if the universe was never withholding direction from you, never playing a cruel game of hide and seek? What if the entire point was for you to stop searching, and instead become the answer you've been waiting for? This is the truth we will explore together today. Life in this modern world often conditions us to hesitate. We're taught to look for approval, to seek validation, to wait for conditions to be perfect before acting. We're told that if it's really meant to be, the universe will give us unmistakable proof, and so we wait, sometimes for months, sometimes for years. Opportunities pass by, relationships fade, inner callings grow quieter under the noise of doubt. We scroll through endless feeds, watching others live boldly, while we tell ourselves we're just waiting for that one clear sign to move. The pain is subtle, but it's heavy. The pain of knowing you're capable of more, but staying locked in the cage of hesitation. There's an old self that thrives in this waiting. The old self is afraid. The old self is unsure. The old self finds safety in postponement, because as long as you're waiting, you don't have to risk failure. You don't have to step into the unknown. You don't have to face the magnitude of your own potential. And yet, there's also a new self, the one who knows that action is alignment, that movement is magic, that choosing yourself is the only sign you'll ever truly need. This new self is calling you forward, whispering that the very desire you feel to change is the universe already answering you. As you listen now, feel into this contrast. On one side is the stuck reality, waiting, doubting, circling in hesitation. On the other side is the shifted reality, living, embodying, choosing to be the sign. Which side feels more alive to you? Which side feels more like home to your spirit? The choice is already in your hands. So many seekers miss this truth, because they've been told manifestation is passive, that if you just think the right thoughts, signs will appear, and then you'll know. But the deepest truth is more radical. Manifestation is not about waiting for signs, it is about being the sign. When you rise in the morning and choose to align your energy, when you decide to move toward what feels alive in you, you are declaring to the universe, I am ready. And the universe does not ignore such declarations. The universe responds to movement, not hesitation. This moment, right now, could be the very shift you've been searching for. The fact that you're here, that you've been drawn to these words, that you're listening deeply, it is not random. This is the mirror of your own readiness reflecting back to you. You are not waiting for a sign, you are awakening to the realization that you are the sign. And so, I invite you to breathe into this truth. With every inhale, feel yourself pulling back the power you gave away to external confirmations. With every exhale, feel yourself stepping into your own authority, your own alignment, your own readiness. The old self that waits is dissolving. The new self that acts, that embodies, that chooses, that self is being born in this very moment. You have always been the answer. You have always been the signal. You are the lighthouse, not the sailor, endlessly searching for one. And as this truth settles into your heart, the journey we're about to take will guide you even deeper, deeper into seeing why we wait, how to step out of the trap, and how to finally embody the sign you were meant to be. There comes a moment in every seeker's life when they realize they've been circling in the same place for far too long. The dream remains vivid, the calling never fades, the heart still whispers, and yet the life they see around them feels unchanged, year after year. Why? Because in the quiet corners of their mind, they have told themselves the same story. I can't move yet. I need a sign first. This is the trap of waiting, and it is one of the most seductive illusions on the spiritual path. Waiting feels safe. Waiting feels responsible. Waiting feels like patience, but in truth, it often masks fear. When you wait for a sign, you postpone responsibility for your choices. You hand over your power to the external world, to numbers on clocks, to messages from strangers, to events that may or may not unfold. Instead of saying, I am ready, you say, I'll be ready when something outside of me tells me so. And that subtle shift in perspective is enough to keep you stuck for months, even years. Think about it. How many opportunities have you brushed aside because you told yourself the timing wasn't right? How many relationships could have blossomed if you hadn't waited for perfect clarity? How many dreams are still lingering in the back of your mind because you're still hoping the universe will place a glowing arrow in front of you? The truth is, the universe has already spoken to you. It spoke through your desire, through your vision, through the spark you feel when you imagine the life you want. That spark was the sign. And yet doubt made you wait for another one, until hesitation became your home. This is the silent trap of seekers, mistaking hesitation for wisdom, mistaking fear for patience, mistaking delay for alignment. And while the external world may applaud your caution, your soul knows the truth. Deep inside, you feel the ache of postponement. You feel the tension between who you are now and who you're meant to be. That tension grows heavier each time you ignore your inner nudge, each time you silence your own knowing, in exchange for another round of waiting. The trap is reinforced by stories we hear everywhere. We are told to wait for the right time, wait until the stars align, wait until everything feels certain, and so you convince yourself that life is about timing, when in fact, life is about alignment. The stars do not have to align outside of you, they have to align within you. The right time is not a date on the calendar, it is the moment you decide, and yet the conditioning runs deep. The old self whispers, not yet, maybe later, maybe tomorrow, and tomorrow becomes next week, next month, next year. Here's the harsh reality. Waiting is not neutral. Waiting costs you something. It costs you energy. It costs you peace. It costs you opportunities that will never return in the same form again. The longer you wait, the heavier the energy of regret becomes. You wake up one day and realize you're carrying years of what-ifs on your back. And though you may try to soothe yourself by saying, it just wasn't the right time, deep down you know the truth. It wasn't the universe that kept you waiting. It was you. And yet here lies the paradox. The reason you wait is not because you are lazy or weak. The reason you wait is because you care. You care about making the right choice. You care about aligning with your higher path. You care so deeply that you want reassurance before you leap. That's the tender truth hiding beneath hesitation. And this is why the trap is so convincing, because it disguises itself as wisdom. But wisdom is not waiting. Wisdom is listening. Wisdom is moving when your inner self says yes, even if the external world says not yet. The trap of waiting thrives on fear disguised as logic. Fear says, what if I fail? Fear says, what if this isn't the right path? Fear says, what if I regret this later? And so you wait to avoid those possibilities. But here is the deeper truth. Waiting does not protect you from failure. It only ensures stagnation. Waiting does not protect you from regret. It only guarantees that regret will arrive in a different form, the regret of never trying. Imagine standing at the edge of a river, the water flowing gently, inviting you to step in. You feel the pull. You know you want to cross, and yet you tell yourself, I'll wait until the river gives me a sign. So you wait. Days pass, weeks pass, seasons change, and eventually you look back and realize the river was never the problem. The flow was always there, ready to carry you forward. The only thing that held you back was the story you told yourself about needing more proof. The longer you stay in this trap, the harder it becomes to leave. Your mind grows comfortable with postponement. You become addicted to the idea of someday. Someday when the sign appears, I'll start writing that book. Someday when the sign appears, I'll finally speak my truth. Someday when the sign appears, I'll create the life I dream of. And yet someday never arrives, because someday is a story that only lives in the mind. The heart only knows now. This is why waiting is so dangerous for the soul. Because every moment you delay, you dim your own light just a little more. You shrink your own potential. You silence your own intuition. And the longer you silence it, the quieter it becomes, until one day you forget what it even sounded like. The trap of waiting is not just about missed opportunities. It is about missed selfhood. It is about abandoning yourself in the name of caution. But the moment you see the trap for what it is, everything changes. Awareness dissolves illusion. The second you realize that waiting is not wisdom but fear in disguise, you reclaim your freedom. You begin to understand that the sign you've been searching for is not going to appear in the sky. It has always been in your heartbeat, in your longing, in your knowing. The moment you recognize this, the old self that thrives in waiting begins to lose its power. And so if you feel yourself caught in this cycle, know this: you are not broken, you are not lost. You are simply awakening to the realization that waiting has been the comfort zone of your fear. And just by seeing this truth, you are already stepping closer to your freedom. The trap is real, but so is the key, and that key has always been within you. There is a moment, often small and almost unnoticeable, when something inside of you awakens. It's not the grand lightning bolt across the sky. It's not the booming voice of the universe. It's a quiet realization, a soft whisper that says, "What if the sign I've been waiting for is me?" This is the turning point, the moment when the old self of hesitation begins to dissolve, and the new self steps forward into alignment. Becoming the sign is not about arrogance, and it's not about forcing your way through life. It is about remembering that you are not separate from the universe. You are not an outsider begging for clues. You are a living, breathing expression of universal intelligence. The same energy that paints the stars across the sky, that moves the tides, that makes flowers bloom in spring. It is the very energy flowing through your body right now. And if that is true, how could you ever believe that the signs you need lie outside of you? Think of it this way: every time you feel desire stirring in your heart, that desire is not random. It is life itself calling you into expansion. It is the universe speaking through you, saying, "This is the direction, this is the next step." Your longings are not accidents. They are not daydreams to be dismissed. They are the roadmap of your soul. To wait for more signs after the longing has already appeared is like a bird waiting for permission to fly. The wings themselves are the sign. The longing itself is enough. When you embody this truth, something powerful happens. The fear that once kept you waiting begins to lose its grip, because you realize there is no more need to hesitate. You already carry the confirmation within you. Every action you take with alignment becomes the sign for the next one. You are no longer chasing synchronicities, you are creating them. You are no longer looking for the lighthouse, you have become the lighthouse. The essence of becoming the sign is simple. You shift from seeking to embodying. You stop asking, "When will the universe show me?" And you begin declaring, "I am ready, and my readiness is the universe showing itself through me." This shift transforms your reality in ways both subtle and extraordinary. Because when you move with that kind of alignment, reality bends to meet you. Opportunities arise, connections flow, doors open, not because you were waiting for them but because you chose to step forward and become magnetic to them. There is a principle in manifestation that many overlook. The universe does not respond to indecision. Indecision is static energy, and static energy sends out no clear signal. But when you decide, when you commit, when you embody, the energy of clarity ripples outward. It is like dropping a stone into a still pond. The ripples move far beyond what your eyes can see. Becoming the sign means dropping that stone with intention, trusting that the ripples will carry your vibration into the fabric of reality itself. Consider this: when you look back at the great moments of your life, the times you felt truly alive, truly connected, were they moments when you waited endlessly for proof? Or were they moments when you acted from your own knowing, when you chose to trust yourself, when you became the very confirmation you needed? Every major breakthrough is born not of waiting, but of choosing to be the sign. To embody the sign is also to embrace responsibility. It means no longer outsourcing your power to clocks, coincidences, or validations from others. It means saying, "I am the one who decides, I am the one who moves, I am the one who declares this is the moment." And in that declaration you merge with the very creative force of the universe. You stop being a seeker of signs and become a co-creator of them. Imagine waking up tomorrow and living as though you are already the sign you've been hoping for. How would you move differently? How would you speak differently? How would you carry yourself into the world? That energy shift alone changes everything, because the world does not give to you what you wait for, it gives to you what you are. If you are embodying hesitation, the world reflects more hesitation. If you are embodying readiness, the world reflects opportunities that match your readiness. And here lies the profound truth: becoming the sign is not something you wait to do after you've healed, after you've perfected yourself, after you've figured it all out. You become the sign in the messy middle, in the uncertainty, in the not knowing. You declare, "Even here, even now, I am aligned. Even here, even now, I choose to be the signal of my own expansion." And from that choice, reality shifts around you. When you begin living this way, life starts to feel like flow. You no longer obsess about whether you missed a sign, because you understand that your very act of moving forward creates the next one. You no longer fear making the wrong choice, because you know that any choice made from alignment becomes the right one. You stop being the person who hesitates at the edge of the river, and you become the one who steps into the water, trusting the current to guide you. And something beautiful happens when you live this way. Others begin to notice. They feel your energy shift. They see your confidence, your clarity, your glow. And without realizing it, you become the sign for them too. Your embodiment becomes a living transmission, a reminder to others of what is possible when one chooses to stop waiting. In this way, your life itself becomes a signpost of courage, a signal of expansion, a mirror of universal truth. So I ask you now, what would it feel like to stop waiting and start becoming? What would it feel like to finally say, I am the confirmation I've been searching for. My desires are valid. My knowing is enough. My presence is the sign. Let that sink in, because this is not just a nice idea, it is a radical reorientation of your reality. It is the doorway to a life where you are no longer a passive observer but an active participant in the unfolding of your destiny. Right now, as you listen to these words, the invitation is here. The universe does not need to send another symbol. The very fact that you are here, drawn to this message, is proof of your readiness. And the moment you choose to embody that truth, to rise, to move, to act, you step into alignment with your highest path. You are not waiting for a sign, you are becoming the sign. And when you live this way, everything changes, not because the universe suddenly favors you, but because you finally align with the truth that was always within you. So far we've explored the illusion of waiting, and we've touched the deep truth that you are not here to seek the sign, you are here to become it. But awakening to this truth is only the first step. The question then becomes, how do you live this truth every day? How do you take this awareness out of your mind and anchor it into your reality? This is where practice enters. Practice is the bridge between knowing and being. It is the way you train your energy, your body, and your mind to embody the sign you already are. The first practice is the practice of intention. Every morning before the noise of the world reaches you, sit with yourself for just a few breaths and declare, I am the sign. My life is the proof. Feel those words not as a mantra to repeat blindly, but as a vibration you call into your body. Intention is not about forcing the day into a shape. It is about tuning your frequency before the day begins. When you do this, you are no longer waiting for external confirmation. You are setting the tone, becoming the vibration that guides everything else. The second practice is conscious micro-decisions. Too often we believe transformation comes only through massive leaps. But the truth is, every small choice is a sign you are sending to the universe. When you choose the meal that nourishes instead of numbs, you are saying, I am aligned. When you choose to speak your truth instead of staying silent, you are saying, I am the sign. When you choose to take one small step toward your dream, even if it feels insignificant, you are declaring, the waiting is over. Every micro-decision compounds. Every choice becomes a signal, both to your subconscious and to the world, that you are no longer waiting. The third practice is embodiment through the body. The body is the vessel of energy. If your body remains locked in patterns of hesitation, slumped posture, shallow breath, tight shoulders, your energy reflects hesitation. But when you move with presence, when you stand tall, when you breathe deeply, when you walk as though you are already aligned, you embody the sign in the physical realm. Try this. The next time you walk into a room, imagine you are the living confirmation of someone's prayer. Imagine your presence is the sign they were waiting for. Notice how your body changes. Notice how your energy shifts. This is not pretending. This is remembering. The fourth practice is journaling as declaration. Write each day, not about what you hope might come, but as though it is already alive within you. Instead of saying, I wish for clarity, write, I am clarity. I move with purpose. I am the sign that calls clarity into my life. Instead of writing, I hope for abundance, declare, abundance flows through me. I am the evidence of universal generosity. The act of writing crystallizes the vibration. It trains the mind to stop waiting for proof, and instead generate proof through the power of language. The fifth practice is aligned action without overthinking. Waiting thrives on analysis, on the endless cycle of what-ifs. But becoming the sign is about action before certainty. It is about stepping onto the path even when you can't see the whole road. When you feel the nudge to call someone, do it. When you feel the pull to start creating, begin. When you feel the spark to shift direction, trust it. The action itself becomes the sign that creates the next opening. Overthinking dissolves in movement. The sixth practice is silence and listening. Becoming the sign does not mean constantly forcing your energy outward. It also means learning to attune to the subtle whispers of your own being. Set aside moments each day for silence, not waiting, not hoping, not analyzing, simply listening. In that silence you will feel the vibration of your own soul, and in that vibration you will find direction. This practice keeps you from falling back into the trap of chasing signs outside of you. You begin to realize that the deepest guidance has always lived within. The seventh practice is devotion to presence. Waiting thrives on the future. One day when the sign comes, then I will. But presence anchors you in now. The truth is, the only time you can ever embody the sign is now, not tomorrow, not someday, now. When you eat, be fully with your food. When you speak, be fully with your words. When you walk, be fully with your steps. Presence is power. It transforms ordinary moments into sacred confirmations. And when you live this way, you no longer search for signs in the distance. You see them in the simplicity of now. The eighth practice is sharing your embodiment with others. Becoming the sign is not just about your own journey. When you embody alignment, you naturally become a signal for those around you. Share your truth. Speak about your journey. Let your courage ripple into the lives of others. You never know who is silently waiting for someone like you to show them what is possible. In this way, your life becomes a living prayer, a beacon for others to step out of waiting too. And finally, the ninth practice is forgiveness of delay. If you find yourself slipping back into old patterns of waiting, do not judge yourself. Do not fall into shame. Simply notice, breathe, and return to embodiment. Becoming the sign is not about perfection. It is about willingness. It is about returning again and again to the truth that you are the confirmation you've been seeking. Forgive the moments of hesitation and use them as reminders of how far you've come. When these practices weave into your daily life, something miraculous begins to unfold. You no longer live in a state of grasping. You no longer wake up hoping for proof. You move with quiet confidence, knowing that your very presence is the signal. And in that vibration, life begins to mirror your embodiment. Synchronicities appear not because you waited, but because you moved. Opportunities flow not because you begged for them, but because you aligned with them. This is what it means to embody the sign. It is not a single moment of clarity, but a way of living. It is a daily practice of choosing, breathing, moving, and aligning as though you already are the answer. Because you are, you always have been. And when you remember this, every day becomes an unfolding of magic, not because you waited for it, but because you became it. And now we arrive at the closing of this journey. You've walked with me through the landscape of waiting, through the trap of hesitation, through the awakening of becoming, and into the practices of embodying the sign. And here, in this moment, I invite you to pause and truly feel the shift inside of you. Because something is different now. The very energy that brought you here has already transformed. You are no longer someone who believes the sign lies outside of you. You are someone who has remembered the truth, that the sign has always been you. Let yourself take a breath with that realization. Breathe in the weight you've carried, all those years of doubt and hesitation, and exhale them now. Release the idea that the universe was ever withholding from you. Release the story that you had to wait for permission, for proof, for the stars to align. With this breath, step into a new story. You are the permission, you are the alignment, you are the living confirmation of your own readiness. Think of what this means for your life. No longer waiting at the river's edge, no longer postponing your dreams, no longer silencing your intuition. Instead, you are stepping forward. You are declaring with your choices, with your words, with your energy, I am the sign. And in that declaration, the universe responds. Life flows differently when you live this way. It bends and stretches to meet the clarity of your embodiment. This does not mean that fear will never whisper again. It does not mean that doubt will vanish forever. But it does mean that you now hold the power to respond differently. Instead of waiting for a sign to overcome the fear, you will act as the sign in the presence of fear. Instead of asking for proof before you will move and let your movement be the proof. This is the difference between the old self and the new self. The old self waited, the new self embodies, and the choice between them lives in every moment, right here and right now. And so as we close, I want you to carry this image with you, a lighthouse standing tall on the shore. It does not wait for another light to shine before it shines. It does not ask for proof before it glows. It simply radiates, because that is its nature. And by radiating, it becomes the very sign others are searching for. You are that lighthouse, not lost, not waiting, not dimmed, shining, guiding, becoming. If these words have touched you, let them be the spark that begins your new chapter. Take what you felt here and bring it into your day, into your choices, into the way you walk into the world. And if you feel called, share this message with others, because you never know who is silently waiting for the reminder that they too are the sign. The waiting is over, the searching is complete, the answer has always been within you. You are the sign, you always have been, and the moment you choose to live that truth, everything changes.